Yo, what is happening out there, people? Welcome to the Michael Lab Show, where it's a land of nothing and everything at the same exact time, where I somehow talk for 30 to 45 minutes, and at the end of the day, people listen, which is mind-blowing. But we're moving on into episode 101, guys. Big thank you once again to everybody who has been here since day one. Episode 1, Episode 10, Episode 5, Episode 50, Episode 90. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, you guys keep showing up. I keep posting semi-decent content. I like to think it's semi-decent. Who knows, right? But who knows anything right now? Nobody knows nothing. That's why everything is so damn confusing in this world, man. Shout out to Texas, shout out to Florida, shout out to California, shutting back down again. I mean, this is beautiful, right? This is what dreams are made of. This is what dreams are made of. We open up, we shut down. Oh, man, it's July 1st. You guys are watching this on July 2nd. July 4th is right around the corner. July 4th is not canceled, which means just more crowds, more people getting together, doing the damn thing. Acting out. God damn, dude. Who knows? Who knows shit about coronavirus? Who knows about the numbers? Who really knows anything anymore? But what I do know is that the states are starting to shut down again. Rightfully so. Cases going through the roof. I don't think deaths are going through the roof. So I don't know. I really don't know. I do know that this podcast will probably get demonetized because I'm talking about coronavirus. Because if you talk about coronavirus, if you say coronavirus, if you say China, YouTube will say, "Oh, we're going to take down your video. We're going to demonetize you because freedom of speech isn't free." So it's it's a bunch of craziness going on right now, right? Cases are going out of control, understandably so. I mean, just a month ago we had protests throughout the country, rightfully so. The death of George Floyd caused the upheaval in the country. African Americans, blacks who've been repressed in this country for 400 years, stood up, made their voices heard, as they 100% should. Change happened, things happened. But for some reason, we didn't understand that more than just change, there's going to be an uptick in the coronavirus. It seemed to go away for about a solid 15 to 30 days. It's back. Obviously, when you get that many people together, coronavirus is going to go up. The numbers are going to spike. It honestly all depends how the media spins this, right? It really all depends what happens with the media in the next 30 days. If the media starts getting distracted, or if they start getting obsessed with coronavirus, yeah, we're going to shut back down for a long time. But if the media decides to take it somewhere else and they decide to start talking about something else, we won't be locked down. And I think this is the most obvious thing. To me, it's the most obvious thing is that the coronavirus, as much as it is a virus and as much as it does kill people, more than anything, it is a moneymaker for media. It is a moneymaker for businesses. It's a moneymaker for so many people. Here's just a basic economic lesson coming from somebody who's not educated in economics, coming from somebody who doesn't really have any business skills, coming from somebody who, I probably shouldn't be speaking on it, but my podcast, so I will speak on it. Don't take anything I say as factual information. It's just me speaking out the side of my neck. Before coronavirus, economy was cool, right? We're all doing the damn thing. The stock market was at an all-time high, and actually, just recently, the stock market closed at one of its highest quarters since 1984. And this is emphasizing my point. This is emphasizing what I'm about to say here. Economy was kicking ass, right? We were doing really well. Everything seemed to be okay. Coronavirus happens. Everything gets shut down. When everything gets shut down, jobs are lost. Jobs aren't just lost immediately. where people get on unemployment, but it's a long-term effect, especially when you're locked down for 3 months. That's a quarter of a year. It's 25% of the year you're locked down for. You're losing 25% of your income. If you're a restaurant, especially if you're a restaurant that's like on the water, late April, May, June, July, that is your time to make. Within those 4 months, you probably make 60 to 70% of your income for the entire year. So restaurants are going under left and right. Businesses are going under left and right. Papayas, all these places are going under. And I'm just talking economically here. So everything shuts down. People get on unemployment. We talk about the stimulus package. Cool, it's exciting. We all get $1,200. For some reason, we thought $1,200 is actually some money, but at the end of the day, $1,200 means nothing to nobody. It's really not even money. It's money in a sense that it can be used for transactions, but the value of it is going to go down tremendously, especially when the economy crashes, as it will within the next year. So with the housing market. The housing market's going to crash. The housing market right now is at an all-time high. Whenever it's at an all-time high, it will go back down. People are renting right now. They're not making money. This unemployment is through the roof. It's finally starting to come back down a little bit in the private sector. People are starting to come back to their workplace. But what's happening is after these 2 or 3 months of lockdown have been lifted, people are going back to work. Since these businesses that they worked at have been locked down also, the revenues have been cut down very, very sharply, so they don't have the income to pay employees. So let's say you're a company with 10 employees, you're also coming back at 50% capacity. Therefore, I don't need 10. I probably only need 7 employees. So now I have 7 employees. I laid off 3 employees. Multiply that by the entire country. That's 30% of former employees at restaurants are not coming back. So you have 7 employees now because you're working with the 70% restaurant. The owners are like, hey man, we can't afford to pay two of these employees because we're still only open at 50%. So the owners step in. They're getting paid off of the revenue that they make, so they're not on salary. So they're not on the payroll anymore. So now you're looking at 5 employees. So you have 5 employees that are no longer working. So this is what scares me the most, is that just because you open up the economy doesn't mean the world is safe and okay. It doesn't mean the country's safe and okay. And I feel like we're just so distracted by this coronavirus and so many other things in the world are happening. You remember before coronavirus, it was Trump every day. He did something wrong. Now we only bash Trump over coronavirus. And once again, I'm not trying to show favoritism, but I'm just speaking what the media is putting in front of us every day. From a medical standpoint, you should wear a mask. From a medical standpoint, you should stay 6 feet away. From a medical standpoint, you should wash your hands more. From a medical standpoint, you should be cleaner. From a medical standpoint, you should always do those things, especially now with coronavirus. But I'm scared that the economy is going to go somewhere where we can't, it's going to be nearly impossible to bring it back. And something else has been happening too, where whenever recessions happen, I've been doing a little bit of research here and there, but whenever recessions happen, the businesses that do the best during recessions are the billion-dollar, trillion-dollar businesses, the businesses that are tech-based businesses, the businesses like Amazon, Google, Facebook. I know Facebook has been struggling lately because all these boycotts that a lot of companies have been taking upon them. Starbucks, a lot of companies have been choosing not to use Facebook as the platform, but it's really strange because they're keeping their Instagram pages rocking and rolling, which is a hilarious thing because Instagram is a child company of Facebook. Facebook is the owner of Instagram. So the irony there is it's hilarious, right? It's hilarious. But these companies get bigger and stronger. They get bigger and stronger. Amazon has been buying out companies left and right. Google has been buying out companies left and right. Uber's been buying out. They just bought out Postmate. Gap just signed a 10-year deal with Kanye West. Every time there's a recession, the people who already have money tend to make more money and more money and more money because the smaller companies can't stay open. And it every time there's a recession, the gap between the rich and the poor just gets farther and farther and farther apart. For a few reasons. One of the main sources of income for people who are wealthy are stock investments, not just the stock market, but investments in general. And the hardest thing about maintaining a revenue, a positive revenue, a net positive revenue instead of a net loss when it comes to investing is to be able to have the balls to stay inside of the investment, right? So, for example, let's say you own shares of Apple, Facebook, and Google, whatever, Netflix. Just June 2019, you bought it in June of 2018. You've made 10%, 5% return on your investment for each company. You've probably made about $1,000. Then January 2020 comes around, and you've been putting all that money back into the stocks. You've been buying more stocks at a lower price. You've been increasing your stock dividends. Your dividends and your stock investments. By the way, I sound like an idiot here. I don't really know what I'm talking about, but I'm just kind of sharing it. And then the economy crashes, right? You're a middle-class citizen. You work a normal job. Let's say you work at an office. You do, data collection. What's another common job that people do? I don't know, like a stockbroker, or like a real estate agent or something like that. Really not real estate agent, because they're dealing a lot with the economy, the health, the home market's actually really good right now, which it's going to crash eventually, soon, very, very soon, actually. I don't know. What's a common job? I don't know, like a common job. Let's say you're a server at a restaurant, and you put $1,000 each month into the stock market. Well, once you lose your job and you realize there's no more money coming in, you start realizing that the stocks that you're putting in, the investments that you're putting in, it was for the long term, but short term, you're going to starve to death. So you need that money immediately. And this is when the middle class and the lower class peels off from ever possibly becoming the high class, because they look at the income, they look at the stock money as not an essential form of revenue. It's not an essential income. It is an income that I used, that I was hopefully making a retirement on in the future. But right now, I need to eat dinner. I need to eat food. I need to get water. I need to get toilet paper. So I need that money now. So boom, you flip that $2,000 out of your stock market, out of the stocks, out of your investments, whatever it is, wherever you have that money sitting, even a CD account that gains interest. It's very little interest, but it's still gaining a little bit of interest each and every month. So you take that money out of the bank. And that money was going to be the money that opened up the path for you to have wealth in the future. Now, you take it out to survive. Your job comes back. Then you decide to open back up another stock account to get another portfolio. You buy your stocks up again. Awesome. But you've lost out on the 2 previous years of the compound interest from your stock investments. Now, if you're rich and you're already doing super well before the recession hit, you didn't have to take your money out of the stock market. You didn't have to mess with your portfolio. What you did do, though, which is the greatest benefit of already having a lot of money, is you bought up all of the stocks, all the Netflix, all the Amazon, when they dropped 15 to 25 to 30, 40%, when they dropped 15% during that crash, you bought it all up. So boom, when it takes off again, you're flipping all that money, all those percentages that dropped, they're going to go back up again, and they're going to go up higher than they normally were before they dropped. So you just made your money off of that original drop, and then the drop that hit during the recession, going up to when it comes out of the recession, when it's a healthy economy. So this is why the wealth distribution, or the income inequality, gets higher and higher and higher. It's because every time that there is a fear, every time that the economy turns to a point where it's going to crash, because people, I think the average citizen thinks of a crashing market as a panic instead of just like when you suffer from depression for a few weeks. It's something that is going to happen within the year. There's going to be a time where the economy is going to suffer. And planning for that and understanding that the economy is going to suffer a little bit, you can plan, you would be prepared for when it happens. In the same way that you can plan for when you're going to be sad. It's going to be okay. And this is exactly what happens. And this is why the rich get richer and the big companies get richer. While the top 1% becomes a higher 1% with more and more money. It's because the people in the middle class, the people in the poorer class, listen all day to these news outlets that say that the economy is going to crash, that the stock market's crashing. They put people in a panic. These numbers are going crazy. The deaths are going crazy. We're locking down here. We're doing this. We're doing that. And without having the ability to look at it for yourself, which I think is something that we should all do, but I think at the end of the day, it's something that most people would never do, is to actually look at something to try to form their own educated thought on it. The scientific theory just doesn't exist anymore. People do not try to view something arbitrarily and try to form their own opinion on it. So you took all your money in the stock market. Now you're not gonna progress. You're not gonna progress financially. But what you're gonna do is you're gonna maybe regress, or you're gonna stay the same, because you're reacting to the fear that's coming in from news outlets, and it's everywhere. It's social media, number one. It's CNN, it's Fox, it's MSNBC, it's radio, it's people all around you that do this. And you got to understand that when this is happening, these people profit off of your quick, impulsive decisions to take your money out of the stocks, to freak out, to whatever it is, to watch and keep your eyes hooked onto it on YouTube, on whatever, because ad revenue, that's how they make money. And the rich buy more stocks. They reinvest the money more and more and more when the economy is going down, knowing that it's going to shoot back up again. And it's just something that I've been watching lately, and it's sad to see. But the fact of the matter is, it's the reality. And I don't know how you can educate people financially, but that's where it needs to start. People need to realize you need to make money work for you instead of you working for money. You're going to have to work for money to make money eventually work for you, but you can't always work for money, because at the end of the day, the hours that you put in physically sitting at a desk doing something, that money is never going to be enough. But you have to take that money and you have to shuffle the money. Like the United States, the way that we make so much money, the way that this country has gone from a physical production company, metal, cars, all that good stuff, to be in a position now where we don't do that. The reason why we've stopped making products, but we've been able to increase our revenue, is because we transfer money back and forth. We invest it, we ship it overseas, and it gains interest, and it makes money that way. But you got to understand that this is going to be a bad situation this next year to 5 years, 10 years. And another thing that I think is super important right now, which I know will never happen, sadly, because people are stupid, is this separation of party lines is a disaster. It's a disaster. It needs to stop. This idea that Donald Trump is the reason why this country is completely falling apart is ridiculous. This idea that Donald Trump has completely saved this country is ridiculous. This idea that Joe Biden is going to come in and save this country is ridiculous. This idea that if Joe Biden becomes president, he will destroy the country is ridiculous. All four options from two human beings that at a combined age are like 200 years old. The fact that they're going to come in, either ruin or save this country, is the reason why this country is in so much trouble. It's that is the reason why we're in a dangerous situation. It's because we have two parties that believe that they're 100% right, and they're relying on their representative to save everything about the country. There's no sense of responsibility that anybody has. There's no sense of communication that anybody tries to do. There's a color game. The color game is between red and blue. And if you're not red, if you're not blue, you're nothing. And if you're red, the blues are nothing. And if you're blue, the reds are nothing. There has to be a bridge that has to form over these two parties for there to be any progress whatsoever. And I don't want to get too much into that. I don't want to move too much into that just because I don't know too much about it. But what I do know is that I'm having conversations with people outside of the podcast where the moment you say something about Trump, you're a racist, you're a bigot, you're pro-abortion, you should go to hell, you're stupid, you're not college educated, you're an asshole. The moment you have a conversation about Joe Biden and you support anything he says, you're an idiot. You believe in government taking over everything. Very much liberal parties. You don't believe that everyone's created equal. These extremes are being placed on two people, which is in turn being placed on anybody who even has a remote viewpoint of one of those people. And that shit right there is going to divide the country more than we've ever seen it. That right there is also going to, and then what I was saying about the economy is going to divide the economy even more. And then it's just what's going to fill up that middle of the divide is going to be hostility. And the hostility is going to boil up to a point where I don't know what's going to happen, but it's not good. It's just not good. It's not good. But if we get a vaccine for coronavirus, we could be okay. But also getting people to take vaccines, because there's actually people, believe it or not, guys, there's actually people out there who believe that vaccines are the root of all evil, that the flu vaccine is terrible, that vaccines in itself cause autism, that vaccines, and that right there will get me in trouble. Me saying that will get me in trouble on YouTube. But there's people out there who, there's always people out there who are always going to try to make these claims that whatever it is the worst thing, and whatever it is a conspiracy to control our minds, that there's lizard people out there mating with human beings, that the earth is flat. But I don't know. What I do know is this upcoming weekend is super important. It's super important. And I don't think anybody's really talking about it. July 4th is going to be a pivotal weekend. I hope that people gather in educated fashions. It's gotten to the point now where, as much as I don't think coronavirus is as big of a deal as it should be, but it's being something that's more aggressive than I've ever thought it could ever possibly be. Like I've been saying from the beginning. You remember when they throwing around 10, 20, 30 million people were going to die from this thing, where it's like 500,000, which is still a decent amount, but it's nowhere near as high as it was going to be. I saw someone post something about how this is like the 1918 Spanish flu. Like, that's just not true. I saw someone else post something about how this is like the Black Plague. That's retarded. Like 20 million people died during the Black Plague. Yeah, I hope July 4th goes over well. I mean, this is an important weekend. Places are starting to shut down. Texas is closing bars. I don't think Texas ever shut down. Florida is starting to close down again. The Planet Fitness, there's a Planet Fitness out in West Virginia, which is right next to Maryland, that there was a case of coronavirus and they had to shut down the entire gym. Pennsylvania is starting to shut down again. They had like almost 90,000 cases, which I don't think Maryland's even close to that. I had no idea they had that many cases. California's shutting down its bars again. it's almost August. Schools that said that they were going to open up classes in person are starting to shut down classes again, going back to remote learning, which that's going to completely alter education forever in this country. It's almost August, dude. It's July 1st, I know, but August is going to be here before we know it. August, September is going to start getting cold again. If we don't have a vaccine, I mean, 2 days ago on Tuesday, I was in a shitty mood all day because I started thinking about it and I just started getting sad. Not going back to school. I wanted to go back to school. I wanted to go back to class. I wanted to have that routine. I wanted to just do the college thing for a year, but it just sounds like it won't happen, and it sucks. It's sad. It's sad because I honestly believe that if you just opened it up, I think that would be the best option. But then again, I don't know. I also have no idea. I have no idea. I could just be wishing. And I know I'm just wishing because I want to go back. I desperately want to. But we can't afford another shutdown. We just can't. The economy just cannot afford another shutdown. I think human morale cannot afford another shutdown. But what needs to be talked about, the best defense mechanism for this coronavirus is health. People need to be healthy. And at the end of the day, what's really sad is every time you watch the news, every time you listen to people talk, it's about cleaning. It's about, did you wipe this down? Did you cover your mouth when you coughed? Did you wear a mask? Did you stand 6 feet apart from somebody? But no one's saying, why did you eat the McDonald's? Why did you smoke another cigarette? Why did you drink all that alcohol? Why are you still taking all that medicine in your body? Why aren't you working out? Why are you watching TV all day? No one's talking about the health, the general health benefits. I mean, people literally say one of the reasons why people die with coronavirus is because they have other underlying health conditions, and underlying health conditions can be a lot of things, but a lot of it also has to do with your level of fitness, your level of cardiovascular health, your level of, your body is literally an army. Right, so if you have a shitty army, if you have an army with the worst material, if you have an army with shitty weapons, with guns that don't shoot, with swords that are dull, with armor that's weak, and you have just a terrible army, it's not trained for anything, it's never had to deal with anything. The moment it gets faced with the real army, it's gonna die immediately. There's no chance of it to survive. Your country's going to be taken over, your king's going to be stabbed, and your queen's going to get raped. It's going to be a brutal scene. It's a little intense, but I think you hopefully understood the analogy. But if you have an army that you're putting in the work to keep it healthy, you're taking care of it, you check the guns to make sure that they shoot off properly, you're sharpening the swords, you're checking the shields, you're putting on the best armor, you have a quality team, you're training everybody every time you hire somebody new for your military. Well, guess what? When a military moves in that wants to fight you, that wants to kill you, your army is going to do a lot better than the dumb army, the weak army. And it's going to put up a fight. It's going to put up a real fight. It's going to put up a fight, and it might be able to win. But if you have a weak army and you're just looking over the hills to run away from any military, if you see a military in the distance and you just run the other way, you just put on the mask and you run the other way. If you realize, 4 feet apart, hypothetically, we need to go 6 feet apart, 6 miles apart, then we won't get hurt. It's going to catch up to you. You can't do that forever. But what you can do is you can fight it, right? Or what you can do is get infected by it, which I personally believe everybody's going to be infected by it. And I also believe that the faster we get to a high infection rate where everybody has it, the quicker we can fight it off altogether and it will go away. I think that's herd immunity, I think. But if we're all healthy and strong and we take care of our bodies, then we can fight it off, right? Then you can fight it off. And it comes down to diet, it comes down to cardio health, it comes down to fitness, muscular strength, it comes down to emotional and mental health. You can't be panicky. The moment you get panicky, the moment you get stressed out, your cortisol levels go through the roof and your body becomes weak. You can't fight things off. That's just biology. That's how it works, I don't know. I just feel like not this country, but this world is just losing its mind slowly. Every day. I mean, the cancel culture is coming back, which is like the fucking dumbest thing. Every time someone gets canceled, like, let's just use this for example. Let's say I painted my face black. I did blackface for a Halloween thing or whatever. And I shouldn't have done that. I was stupid. That was a bad idea. Well, someone calls me out. That person who calls me out is going to get called out for something else. This idea of cancel culture is just, it's the silliest thing ever. I mean, we've seen people get canceled who should be canceled. We've seen people who got canceled who shouldn't have ever been canceled. And it's just every time this fires up again, the first thing in my head is boredom. People are bored and they're trying to come up with anything to give themselves a moral high ground. Look what I did. I defended this person because I called out that person. Well, every time you do that, you're going to get called out eventually, because once you call somebody out, everybody else looks at you and they're trying to see if something's wrong with you. And then they're going to find something. You could find something. I guarantee if you go to my Twitter feed, you could find something. You could find something from anybody ever, especially me, because of podcasting, because of YouTube. It's a dangerous thing, and every time you cancel somebody, what you're doing is you're just yelling at somebody. You're saying bad, 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 but you're not teaching why it was wrong. You're not trying to listen to somebody why they did it. You're not giving somebody any room to apologize. There's a teaching and there's an education that has to be taking place that is never going to be taking place at the rate that we're going at. You do something wrong, the other side should be able to talk and explain what they did, explain why what they did, explain what they learned from it so people can hear it and not do the same thing. I don't know. Maybe that's a crazy thing to say, but that's just what I personally believe. I don't know. I hope everyone has a good July 4th. I think this is going to be very important. I believe that things are going to be okay. I hope colleges are in person. I think I was telling Taylor right now, if we all went into this as let's say we're going back to school. If everyone on campus was like going into it, okay, well, we're going to get a few cases, but as long as we get under 500 cases, it's okay. But I think everyone's approaching everything right now as if we get one case, we're done. We're done. Could you imagine if we did the same thing with the flu? If we did the same thing with the common cold, where every time we saw one case, we just shut everything down? Well, we got ourselves in a vicious cycle where that's what it is. The moment one thing happens, the fire started and people just lose their fucking minds. That needs to be canceled right now, because a virus is going to grow and we're all going to get it eventually. I don't know. I do know that was episode 101 of the Michael Lab Show. I feel like I've kind of been off lately on the podcast. I don't know why. I don't know. It feels a little weird lately. I was explaining it like this. Once I got to episode 100 of the podcast, I feel like I was walking up the mountain and I was getting higher and higher. But when I uploaded episode 100, I feel like I got to the mountain and I just looked at the bottom of the mountain and now I'm looking up. It's a weird number. It's almost like starting over again, but not really. Because 100 was like a goal. But now, what's the next goal? 1,000? It's weird. I don't know. But I do know that's it, guys. It's just a 30-minute episode, quick little episode for your Thursday. I don't want to put too much in you guys' mind with July 4th right around the corner. But just have fun with your family. Be safe. Enjoy hamburgers, hot dogs, beers. Go fishing, play some baseball. Just have fun with your loved ones. If you're going to go out, just be safe. Don't be stupid. Look out for each other. This has been the Michael Lab Show, episode 101. I'll catch you guys in episode 102. Peace out. Thank you. See ya.